morning, friends. How you doing? Are you ready for another story? I've got a fun one today with lots of imagination. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, Lily. Dear Fish, written and illustrated by Chris Gall. Peter Allen and his family had never seen a finer day at the beach. Ocean breezes rippled through their umbrella, clouds skipped carefree overhead, and even the seagulls were on their best behavior, which is asking a lot of a seagull. Peter Allen spent most of the day leaping over tide pools, peeking under rocks, and wondering what kinds of curious creatures might live beneath the swirling water. Peter Allen had an idea. He ran back to the blanket, found a pencil and paper, and began to write. Dear Fish, where you live is pretty cool. You should come visit us someday. Plus, my mom makes good pies. Sincerely, Peter Allen. He pushed the note into an empty bottle, screwed the cap on tight, and threw it as far as he could into the churning sea. After all the chips had been eaten, the castles made, the shells collected, and the sun had dissolved into the sea, Peter Allen's family packed up and headed home. The next morning, while Peter Allen was getting ready for school, he heard a strange dripping and a flipping and a flopping and a gurgling, and a strong smell was coming from behind the shower curtain. Next door, Mr. Adams was getting ready to mow his lawn. From the other side of his fence, he heard a peculiar chomping and a slurping, a gnawing, and a burping. Then a whole family of very startled mice leapt out from under the leaves and dashed away. Down the street at Sally's house, even stranger things were going on. Sally was looking for some balloons for her birthday party, and luckily she found some funny but rather smelly ones in a closet. Just as the party was about to start, she heard a crash, a smash, a wiggling and a jiggling, and a deep bellowing overhead that shook the entire house. Look what was making all that noise! Down at the ballpark, it was the bottom of the ninth inning. Without looking, Casey McGraw grabbed a bat from the dugout and ran to the plate. The crowd hushed as he swung with all his might, and with a smack, a crunch, a munch, and a gulp, the game was over. Outside of town at the rodeo, Cole Trenton, the roughest, toughest, stinkiest cowboy that ever rode a steer, climbed onto a creature that he'd heard just couldn't be ridden, though he yanked and yelled and spurred and spat. Cole was later found 2 counties away. Meanwhile, Peter Allen's dad was building a treehouse, but before he could reach for his saw, he felt a great swooping and whooshing and a hammering and a yammering. Then he was left in a cloud of sawdust. Downtown at the beauty parlor, Peter Allen's mom had just leaned back to enjoy the combing and curling and snipping and spraying, until she felt something clammy and wet stick to her cheek. Just at that moment, Mrs. Adams burst through the door and exclaimed, "There's something going on at the school. There's a school in the school." Peter Allen returned from school that afternoon, feeling more than a little slimy. This was more of a visit than Peter Allen had expected. So he wrote another note. Dear Fish, thank you for coming to see us. You are nice, but you are fish. You should live at home. Plus, I think I hear your mother's calling you. Sincerely, Peter Allen. Everybody back home. Several weeks later, the fishy smells finally started to fade. The firemen had gotten the fish goo out of the trees. The police had removed most of the shark eggs from the fountain in the town square. The town was nearly cleaned up, except for the stains left behind by the sea slugs. You can never get those out. And Peter Allen was finally allowed to have goldfish in his room again. But he had to promise never to speak to them, write to them, or signal them in any way. Later that summer, the family decided it was safe to return to the beach. Peter Allen promised not to throw any more trash into the ocean and to stay away from the tide pools. So he spent his day climbing on rocks, inspecting seaweed, and keeping a sharp lookout for pirates. until, on a small sliver of sand by the water's edge, down deep in the rocks, something caught Peter Allen's eye. There seemed to be something inside. Dear humans. And what do you think happened next? The end. The back cover illustrates how punny this book actually is. There are 10 fish puns within the pictures of this book. Can you find them? Anybody remember any of them? How about the catfish chasing away the mice? How about the jellyfish attacking the peanut butter? Peanut butter and jelly. A dogfish in a hot dog? How about the cowboy riding the bull shark, with even some little seahorses in the background? Of course it was a sawfish and a hammerhead shark helping to build the treehouse. An electric eel helping out at the beauty parlor. Of course there'd be a soapfish in the bathroom. The end. P.S. That's an anglerfish. Have a good day, everyone.